I'm not the type of guy to use the expression, "I told you so," but when it comes to my early assessment that James Gunn's Superman was in fact a box office flop, I feel like I can make an exception, because over the past 4 weeks, I've received a fairly good amount of negative comments questioning both my analysis and my integrity. But the truth is, I was reporting on a story based on actual numbers. I know that it's not what everybody wanted to hear, since at least some people seem to have enjoyed James Gunn's Superman, but whether or not you like a specific movie, sentiments do not equal box office receipts, and based on Superman's disappointing international box office and the amount that was spent on the production and marketing of the movie, there was simply no way that the movie could be considered a success. And when a studio like Warner Brothers releases a high-profile, tentpole movie like Superman, they expect to make real money, especially since this movie was supposed to be the official relaunch of the DC Cinematic Universe. And as bad as I've been saying the situation was with James Gunn's Superman, today there have been some new developments that have only confirmed that the situation is actually much worse. For starters, the rumors about an early Superman digital release, which I've already reported on in a previous video, were actually true, and according to a new tweet by James Gunn himself, it's already going to be available to watch at home on August 15th, which is almost immediately. And to me, this clearly looks like a desperate move by Warner Brothers to try to quickly get a few more dollars from the movie that's already underperforming theatrically, and in a way, I see this as the equivalent of Warner Brothers raising a big white flag, because with this type of frantic maneuver, it's clear that Warner Brothers already understand that this movie would be lucky to hit $600 million at the box office worldwide, which is again, the range of numbers that I was discussing in all of my videos. And may I also remind you that $600 million is significantly less than most Superman movies ever released to date after you adjust them for inflation. And yes, that also includes Zack Snyder's Man of Steel movie from 2013, which made around $670 million and also sold many more theater tickets. And I keep seeing people making excuses for why James Gunn couldn't hit Snyder numbers from 12 years ago, but none of these arguments hold water when you consider that a rather forgettable movie like Jurassic World Rebirth has clobbered Superman at the box office this summer, especially internationally. Whether you choose to accept it or not, the reality is that James Gunn's movie, at minimum, is divisive and absolutely not the slam dunk home run that he was expected to deliver for Warner Brothers. And in spite of the praise we've recently seen in the press, behind closed doors, I'm fairly certain that Warner CEO David Zaslav is probably very unhappy with Gunn. And now, interestingly, even a well-known industry shill slash scooper is both admitting and confirming exactly what I've been saying for the past month. I am, of course, talking about Jeff Snyder, who today has said, "I don't give a f*** what James Gunn says anymore. This guy is the most annoying studio head I've ever heard of, or met, or seen, or anything. I don't think it's winning him any fans. I don't think it's winning him any fans on the Warner Brothers lot, where I know people find him and his antics to be annoying. Bro, your movie is maybe, probably going to get to $600 million. Take that quote-unquote W, if we want to call it that, and shut up. Shut up. Go focus on reading scripts and making movies and TV shows, because it seems you get paid a lot of money and spend a lot of time on Blue Sky and Threads. Now, if a typical garden variety industry shill like Jeff Snyder feels all confident now to talk tough and to say what I've been saying since Superman's opening weekend, and much less politely than me, may I add, then I think that this is a clear sign that this whole thing is pretty much over. But if you wanted another sign that James Gunn's movie is in fact a flop and one that's causing concern over at Warner Brothers, another story has surfaced in recent weeks. Initially, when I saw it, I didn't think much of it, but now, when I looked at it again, I think it's very telling. And of course, special shout out to Matt McGloin of Cosmic Book News for this item, in which he uncovers that Jason Momoa is apparently getting a larger role than initially intended in the upcoming James Gunn Supergirl movie. Even though he's playing Lobo this time around and not Aquaman like he did in the past, Warner Brothers seemingly are pushing for more Momoa, which means that they still consider him a box office draw and perhaps a name actor which can generate some buzz, especially internationally, which is something that was clearly missing from Superman. To me, Both the acceptance of industry shills that the movie is a flop, along with Warner Brothers' recent decision-making, gives me the feeling that they're not as confident in James Gunn's DC vision as they were before. Now, I'm not saying that they'll necessarily fire Gunn tomorrow, but based on his Superman movie flopping, he probably won't be getting endless credit. I suppose that what they'll wait to see is how Supergirl performs, but if that movie doesn't deliver an actual hit, Gunn's position could potentially be in jeopardy. In any case, I can confidently say that my coverage of this story until now has been accurate from day one, and only now more mainstream personalities are starting to admit it, because at this point, even they have no choice. Thankfully though, I don't have to worry about my industry relationships. I can just tell it like it is, and if you enjoy getting more honest reporting, then again, please make sure you're subscribed to my channel so that you're always getting the truth as best as I can deliver it. In any case, thanks for watching, my friends. Thank you, and good day.
I am such an awesome guy. I make so many videos.